I just like to employ here that you make decisions and you make good sound decisions, but at the same time, don't get to where you don't make any decisions. Sometimes you can have what we call paralysis of analysis. You analyze things so long and for so much and so long that you don't make a decision at all. And I think about that. Sometimes we become gripped in fear, and that's what part of what trauma is, because we may be afraid of the outcome. And so but remember what I said before. I mentioned that sometimes we cannot make a decision. Just because you don't make a decision don't mean that a decision hasn't been made. It's just, you just didn't make it, but it was still made for you. So sometimes, I go the other spectrum of making decisions and thinking it through and analyzing is becoming so analytical to where you just become paralyzed and you don't make a decision at all. You start living in fear and you freeze and you just live with regrets later on and think, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. So I'd like to just encourage you also on the other side, some of you out there that are listening, that care to take in recommendations about decision making, is that sometimes we just make decisions because we just need to make a decision. And we make a decision and we pull the trigger on it. I hate to use that term, but for lack of better words or phrases, sometimes we just have to pull the trigger on something. Sometimes we get to where if you keep coming back to something, that means that may be an indicative of everything that your emotions or everything that your analytical mind has drawn up. You may have more cons than you do pros in making that decision, but something keeps bringing you back to it. And I think about that when I purchased my first rental property, and I just made, I took months to, do my research and what have you. But when I came to that, I didn't even sit down and do all the numbers. I just made a decision like this was it. It was what I don't regret it. I don't regret it. I just, it's the first of the month. I have a wonderful tenant. I mean, she's so good that sometimes I get my check. I get my rental check, a couple days before the first. That's how good she is. And I just, I think about that. Like, what if I never, with all of my complaints and all of the things I have, gone through some obstacles, I've learned some things from owning property, but I also love it. And it motivates me to get myself into a position to get more properties. Okay. But I just think about that. Like, what if I didn't make a decision? What if I was still analyzing numbers and, I'd still be sitting here today renting other people's properties and not having my own property and being a landlord. So I just wanted to say, I don't want to be too chatty, but I just wanted to say that to you, to put that out there, because I think also if you're a matured person, of a certain age, as you get older, I've noticed within my own self, and I'm sharing myself with you, I become a little bit more fearful and a little bit more frozen with trauma in my decision making. And I noticed that when my mom was, as she was aging, the fire that she had, it started to subside. And I thought even then, like, is that age, does aging? And I think about it in my own experience that it can bring on more fear if you allow it. And just to be aware of that, get into therapy, talk to a person that can give yourself self-affirmations and positive talk, making sure that the information that you receive is going to build you up, not bring you down. And especially, again, and I'm speaking, again, from a woman of a certain age, that it's real. The struggle is very real. You can become more fearful, and you can get to where you don't really live for yourself. You don't really live to be happy. And being, I used to hear people say, even ministers and church, leaders say, oh, happiness is happenstance. It's more important for you to have peace. And I totally agree. And I used to really agree with that 100%. I don't agree with that 100% anymore. I believe that you do deserve happiness. And don't let anyone feed that into you. That happiness is possible. That you do what makes you happy. You do what makes you happy. And sometimes doing what makes you happy is going to be, you're going to be selfless, self-full. You're going to do things that's going to make you happy. Everybody else may not like it, but then you know what? You live one time. You live this life one time and one time only, you know? And you deserve to be happy. You know, and I have to tell myself that. You know, I have to remind myself that, wait a minute, are you, you know, you have to ask yourself every now and then, are you really happy with your life? Is this what all that you want it to be? Because you know what? You only live one side on this time side. You only live one time, and you deserve to be happy. You know, it's like being in a relationship, and you may say, well, you know, if I didn't, you know, this person, you know, I can have, you know, you can kind of minimize your happiness because, again, of fear of making decisions. You become kind of like fearful and say, well, something better may not ever come along. Then what? I still think that you have to ask yourself if you're happy. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands, you know. But I'm being really elementary here, but it's just the truth. We forget that we deserve happiness. You know what I'm saying? You deserve to be happy. You deserve to make decisions that put you in a space and a place to where you can truly say, really, I'm not only at peace with myself, I'm at peace with my Creator. I'm at peace with God. I am at peace with myself, but I'm also happy. And I think they are two different things. And so in our decision making, that we have the right to ask ourselves, you know, in these decisions that we make, that we don't just live for just to be secure, because it can, and that's good. Those are good things to be, you know, serious about, because you don't want to just be out here. But at the same time, if those things that make you secure bring you security, do they bring you happiness? You know, they may even bring you some peace, but I think peace is part of happiness. It's not all of happiness. I think that happiness is something, you know, that has been taken out of the equation, especially in the spiritual realm. In the, you know that you can be at peace and not be happy. And I'm like, no, you deserve to ask yourself if you're happy in your decisions. If you're happy in your decisions, that's great. But if you're not happy in your decisions, that's something you need to really, that may be why you keep coming back around to that, you know? Anyway, I'm going to shut up because, you know, I can be very chatty Corliss. So I'm going to shut up at this point. But, you know, I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. It looks like a beautiful, it's going to be a beautiful spring day. You can get out and take a walk. I may catch back up with you later on. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.